Welcome to Jikoni Magic's Meza and a very happy new year to you. This is my first video of 2018 and I thought that we would start things off by going back to the basics. To kick things off will be Ugali. I have received a lot, and I mean a lot of requests for Ugali. This video will not be an instructional one with me telling you what to do, but rather on how I go about making my Ugali. So here I'm starting off with 1 liter of water that is already simmering but not yet boiled. I do not add my flour at this point because I believe that water for Ugali has to completely boil, otherwise it will have a raw taste to it. On the other hand, I also don't like it when it boils furiously, as you can see here, because chances of me ending up with flour balls in my Ugali are very real. I like it when my water has a gentle boil, as it's doing right now. I prefer to add Ugali flour portion by portion. Some people dump the entire quantity at a go. Nothing wrong with that. End goal is the same, to have Ugali at the end. Just that I find it hard to gauge exactly how much I would require for the whole Ugali. I then wait for the water to come back up to a boil and then start stirring. Did any of you ever do what I'm doing right now, covering one of the bubbling spots, hoping to get a bigger eruption? Volcanic eruptions we used to call them with my siblings. Anyway, once the water comes back up to a boil, start stirring. And right away I could tell that I had put in a lot less maize flour than was required. In my experience, such a small amount of flour will result in the formation of flour balls in the Ugali. So I went ahead and added slightly more maize flour. My aim is to have a very thick porridge-like consistency from the word go. I find it easier to break any flour balls this way as opposed to trying to chase them around while they float in the water. From this point onwards, you'll need lots of elbow grease. You'll have to vigorously stir the Ugali, almost being aggressive with it. If you don't, pockets of flour will result. I recently heard that school kids call them full stops. For some reason, that struck me as being very funny. Well, some people start by mixing some maize flour in water, like the way you would when cooking porridge, to prevent the formation of flour balls. This works as well. It's just not my style. Others decide to cover the Ugali at this point while it's still uji or porridge-like consistency. They reduce the heat and leave it to bake for about 10 minutes before proceeding with the rest of the Ugali cooking process. This also works out very well. Again, just not my style. Once you're satisfied that you've broken down all the flour balls, or as many as you possibly can, it's time to add more maize flour. I normally don't add mine to one spot. I prefer to spread it out like you're seeing me do. Again, to prevent having a huge flour pocket being trapped in my Ugali. That's very unattractive in Ugali. Dry flour in Ugali, it's a big no. The process of folding in the maize flour is, as you can see, I don't fold it all in at once, no. I gradually incorporate it into the rest of the Ugali. Once it's all incorporated, I gauge the consistency. If it's too soft, I add more. Consistency is a highly personal choice. There are those who prefer it very soft like the South African pap, while others prefer it so hard like a weapon of mass destruction. I like it when mine is somewhere in the middle but leaning more towards the softer side. I like using my fingers to gauge the consistency of the Ugali. At this point, it was still too soft for me, so I added one final dash of maize flour and I was satisfied. I'm aware that this might be too soft for some people, so just keep adding maize flour until you're okay with yours. Plus, I also find that the Ugali does get harder the longer you cook it because water will keep evaporating from it. So to spare myself the hassle of kusonga a very hard Ugali, I normally stop adding flour at this point. From here on out, the process is repetitive. Add maize flour, incorporate it in, assess the consistency, and add more if it's required. If for some reason you find yourself with many flour pockets, you can smash the Ugali to the sides of the sufuria like so. This is a very effective way of breaking them up. After about 7 minutes or so of stirring your Ugali, reduce the heat and cover for about 10 minutes. This will allow it to bake and cook completely. Here we are after 10 minutes of gently baking our Ugali. It will have become slightly harder and more crumbly, almost as if it wants to fall apart. So increase the heat to high and mold it for about a minute or two for it to come back together into one cohesive ball. Increasing the heat also makes it easy for the Ugali to release from the bottom of the sufuria. I do not like burnt ugali. You know, the kind that smells all around the neighborhood. Not my style. I prefer it when there is a subtle ugali aroma in the air. How do you know that your ugali is cooked properly? There are many ways. The ugali that sticks to the sides of the sufuria will start peeling off. I still love that crispy stuff, the best part of eating ugali. And the bottom will become dark but not burnt. Burnt does not equate cooked. The smell changes. Raw ugali smells very different from cooked ugali. Also, it will not stick to the mwiko or wooden cooking stick as much as when you're starting out. Okay, when it's porridge like, it sticks more than when it's cooked completely. Okay. Some people swear that if you throw it against a wall, it should fall off to show that it's cooked. I'll leave that theory to you to decide. Next, turn over the ugali to the serving platter or plate. I will serve it the old-fashioned way. All of it on one platter and everyone serving up the individual portions from there. I will do some more ugali videos where I'll demonstrate a fun and creative way of enjoying ugali, like maybe ugali pizza, burger, ugali fries, etc. And also creative ways of making use of your leftover ugali. So stay tuned. It's advisable to shape the ugali while it's still hot. When it cools down, it will be impossible to do so. I served ugali with sukuma wiki and egg stew. I will share these two recipes in my next two videos. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed my ugali video. Until next time, God willing, please keep it Jikoni magic. Kwaherini ya kuonana.